Okay, hey guys, we're here in the equipment editor of the Soulcalibur 5 game save editor that I made. Alright, so as you can see, there's 4 different things that might catch your eye. This top box up here is going to be the selected area. So it'll show you right here what type of equipment you select. It'll show you right here the coding for that equipment. And it'll show you right here what spot you're trying to equip it to. This on the right hand side is a equipment parts list. So it'll show you all of the parts for the equipment that you're able to select. Let's go back to the standard body here. If you want the entire male body to show, you need to have each one of these pieces. So in each one of these boxes across, it needs to read like this. So it would be 0, 2, and then zeros all the way across for that first piece. And that would be 0, 2, 0, 1, 0, 1, just like it is here. And I'll show you how to do that. That should be a little easier, but I guess we'll see. So you can select this type box here to show you the various equipment types, and these buttons down here will show you the different genders. And headgear for both genders do have a second page. So yeah, there's lots of equipment that you can go through, and for both genders. So it can be kind of confusing if you don't know how the equipment works. But we've got a female character, so let's equip the female clothes. So any type, and just make sure that female box is selected to get the female version. So let's actually do undergarments. So to select any of this equipment, just hover over the image of the equipment that you want. So let's give her, let's give her this bikini with perio. As you can see, once I click on that, it shows me the item and the name of the equipment that I selected, and it brings up the equipment data boxes. You can see right here that the equipment has more than one piece because this select piece coding or text came up, but you could also see that if you go over here in the box to undergarments, female, and find that bikini with perio right here. These are all of the pieces that you'll need to equip to have that entire equipment showing. So if we go into here, so by clicking on that, it brings this little window up and shows you all of the pieces. As you can see, 0001 is right there, 0106, 0208, 0315, and 0417. So if I only were to select these two, which is the upper half of chest and the lower half of chest, she would only be wearing the bikini top. She wouldn't have the bottoms, and because of the fact that it's got that upper breast gear, which is the outerwear, it leads me to believe that she also wouldn't have the bow on the front. However, that's not for certain. It could be something wonky with that. The equipment pieces don't always work how you would anticipate. So it requires a lot of hit and miss. You equip it and go into the in-game after you save and see what it did, etc. So let's do the upper half of chest, which is the first piece. And before we continue on to actually equipping it, we'll go through the equipment data. This first box here is the equipment type. So 1B it goes by hex values. All of this goes by hex values. So you go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then you're at 0A, 0B, 0C, 0D, 0E, and 0F. And then from there, you go from 10, 11, 12, and so on. So this 1B is, let's actually bring up that calculator. The hex value of 1B means it's actually the 27th type of equipment that you can select. And the reason for that is the male values are first. So there's that to work with too. But, so that's the type. So female undergarments are 1B. Male undergarments would be 07. Costumes, the 1 player, 2 player, are always 0. So no matter what character you select, that value is going to be 0. Female bodies are 1/6. Male bodies are 0/2, etc. So with the female undergarments, no matter what type you choose, so long as it's not DLC, like the kind that you have to have the compatibility packs for, it's going to be 1B in that first box. But if it's DLC, all DLC is going to start with 7F. So yeah, 7F is all DLC, and you can see when it's DLC by when you click on it. This box right here, or that image, is going to pop up, and if you click on that, it's going to tell you which compatibility pack you need to have in order for that equipment to be seen in battle. And your opponent would also have to have it if they want to see it, otherwise they're going to see just the basic out of the creation character. So they're just going to be wearing that default clothing that they are spit out with when you initially go to edit one in-game. So if your character doesn't look fun to other people, tell them to download the compatibility packs. They've been out for like 2 years now. It's time. It's time to download them. Anyways, so we're going to go back to that bikini with Perio. This is the equipment identity. That means that in the type of 1B, the value of 0E is going to be the bikini with Perio. And you can see that that type increases by 1 value as you go up the list. And it continues to do so until you reach your first compatibility pack DLC. And then that value changes to 7F. And this value now indicates the compatibility pack. So the value of 06 is actually for the compatibility pack 1. The value of 09 is for compatibility pack 4. So it would be 06 for pack 1, 07 for pack 2, 08 for pack 3, 09 for pack 4, 0A for pack 5, 0B for pack 6, 0C for pack 7, and 0D for pack 8. And if you click on these, all of the information should be correct. Like I said, if anything's not, shoot me a message in, oh, I can't move that. That's not going to show me. That little message icon in the character selector, send me a message and tell me what the equipment is, and if it's not right, I will fix it in the next version. So I actually need your guys' help to keep the editor working as well as it should. Yeah, okay, so back to the Perio. This is going to be the sub-identity. That is not often used. The only non-DLC thing that uses it is the costumes here, and they do that because the type is 00, so it registers all the costumes. The identity for Patroclus is 35, so that would be his costumes. And this value right here, the sub-identity, it's going to be 0 for his 1 player and 01 for his 2 player. And it's like that with everyone. So they'll have their individual identity, and then the sub-identity is always going to be 0 for the 1 player and 1 for the 2 player. So that should be pretty straightforward there. So undergarments, female, perio. Okay. This third part right here is the piece. So when you select piece coding, you can see it goes up by 1 each time. And that means there's a total of 5 pieces, because you include this 0 as a piece. There's a total of 5 pieces for that entire Bikini with Perio set. And if you only have one piece, it's only going to show that piece. So if I only have this 00 piece, it's only going to show the top half of that bra and the straps. So it's not going to have the bottom half, and it's not going to have the bottoms, the perio, and most likely that bow on the bra as well. So I would need both of these to get the entire bra selected, and that would be for the underwear. This would likely be for the bow on the bra top, and this is most likely the perio, which would be the skirt thing she's wearing with the bikini. So yeah, let's go to that first piece again. So this last box here is the equipment placement. Since it's 01, it normally, they would want it to go right here with the upper breast. That's where the upper underwear breast goes, is 01. So this one right here is 06, so you would want to match it up with 06. Now, you don't have to do that. You can equip this 01 piece anywhere, literally anywhere. But just note that even if you equip this Bikini with Perio top half of bra, the 00 piece, if you equip it on your foot, it's not going to move down to where your foot would be. It's going to load it in its natural spot, but it's going to, you're not going to have a foot instead, basically. So if you were to load it out here, and I didn't unequip this piece right here, I would have both. I would have the Bikini with Perio, and like I'd have that top half of the bra, and I'd still have this basic clothing. And you don't want to do that because more often than not, the equipment is on the same plane. And by that I mean they're on the same level, so they're going to be trying to fight to be on top. And if the bikini is on the same level as the basic clothing, you're going to see a glitching effect. They're going to like phase in and out of each other. So you've got to be really careful that when it's an undergarment especially, you want it to overwrite this stuff. But if you don't and you want it to be glitching, by all means, do as you please. But, so yeah, we'll actually equip all pieces of this. So it wants to be in 01, so I'm just going to put it in 01 so I don't have to worry about the pieces trying to fight over the top of the render. And I just clicked equip right there, and since I had upper breast equipped, we'll actually just go through that again. When you select the equipment, this pops up along with the coding. When you select a spot, you can see right here that it reflects which spot is selected. Like I have 02 shoulder, that's selected right there. You can click anywhere on the line as well. You can click in between these boxes, so long as you don't go too high up, because it's just reading it from this text box right here. You can click on any one of those. You can click on this little piece viewer, which is just showing you the piece that you've got selected for that spot, like 04 and 04, 05 and 05. So yeah, I was able to just click on that, and I've got the equipment already selected, so I just equip it, and then it overwrites that coding with the coding you had selected up here. So then we're going to equip the second piece by going in here and selecting that, and select it, and now you can see it's 0106 as opposed to 0001. So again, I'm going to go to the slot it intended, 06, and equip it. Now, you can do it this way by always going into the piece selector, or if you already know what pieces it needs, you can go in here and modify the information manually. However, since I just overwrote the abdominal, she's not going to have the lower half of her stomach. She's just going to have another waist, because 08 is the waist. So she's going to have these shorts as well as the bikini bottoms and no abdomen. So you've got to be careful with that. So I'm actually going to go through body parts, go to skin, select piece coding, and it's 07 for the abdominal, and equip it. So now she's got that abdominal piece. So in the correct box, I'm going to equip that 02, or the third piece, for that bikini with perio. And you can also find that information over here if it's easier for you to not go into the piece selector. These are all the pieces here. So I've already got these three, so the next one would be in slot 15. So just overwrite this coding, 0315 and 17, 1B, 0E, 000417. So as of right now, she will be wearing the entire bikini with perio equipment. And you can mess around with that. Like if you only want the skirt, it's probably going to be this piece right here. You can equip something else here. So let's go back in to the undergarments, because those would work best with it. And let's just give her the corset. So the first piece wants to be on 06. The second piece is probably 07. So let's go to corset. Yep, 07 and 08. So it's 1B, 0C, 01, 07, 1B, 0C, 02, 08. Oh, no, that's wrong. 0B, not 0C. And I noticed that because the picture is not of the corset. It's of the teardrop leotard, and I did not want that. So now she's got the corset, the perio, and the bow here, most likely, but she's also still got the straps. Now, if you want the straps, they'd look like they're coming out of the corset. You can keep that. You can mesh all sorts of stuff with the editor. But if you don't want that to show, you're going to want to equip the normal skin again by going to body parts, female, and for the corset, you're most likely going to want to do the braless. So the second one here, the no bra. Select piece coding, and you want the 01 piece, the upper half of chest. So then you would want to equip that so she doesn't have the standard bra showing under the corset. However, I'm going to leave those straps there because I think it might look kind of cool. And I'm going to leave that top bow as well. So now we're going to, let's put more hair on. We already have Tira's default hair, as you can see right here, but I want more hairstyles because it's fun to overlap some. So I'm actually going to put Shiva's hair on the female character, which you can do. And it does want to go in 0E, but since Tira's normal hair is already in 0E and I don't want to get rid of that, I'm going to put it anywhere else that doesn't have equipment that I don't want to overwrite. So I'm going to put it in extra 1, which is meant for the extra type of equipment right here, but since I don't like using those without being able to see where they're going, we're not going to mess with that. So now even though this location is 21, I can keep it at 0E, and it won't affect the coding at all. That just makes it so that um, it doesn't affect it, basically, is what I'm saying. It doesn't need to be 21 here for it to go in the slot. It can still be its default coding. So then let's do... I actually want to put multiple net gears on as well, because I did this earlier and it looked pretty cool. I'm going to put Jun's cape. And even though, like, I actually have purchased this, I haven't purchased this one. So if I were to put that anywhere on here, and as long as I have the correct compatibility pack, which is compatibility pack 2, as you can see, I'll be able to see it. And so will the opponent if they have compatibility pack 2. I just won't be able to equip it in the game editor. So yeah, you can use all equipment in here so long as you have the packs, as well as the Dark Knight helm and the White Knight helm. That was the collector's edition exclusive. I was kind of wondering if I should put those in there, but I don't think you should be held back. So they're in here. Anyways, we're going to go to mech again. Right here. Okay. So I want Jun's cape, and that wants to go in 13. So I'll go ahead and equip it there. And let's see. I also want to give her a hood. So let's give her the Deathcloak hood. We're going to go to piece coding, and it says it's 20, but I'm pretty sure it's supposed to go to 1D. That's probably just my bad, but let's actually go to... I'm uploading the tutorials as I'm doing this. So, SD5 database, neck. It could just have been a mistake on my end. Yeah, it was. It's not supposed to be 1D. It's not supposed to be 20. It's supposed to be 1D, and I'll make a note of that to fix that in the next version. But I'm just going to go ahead and change that, even though I'm pretty sure that doesn't matter. So now, since it's piece 01, so it's the second piece, and it's 1D, I'm going to equip that right here, and now she'll have the hood. But since the hair is still the default coating for both of these, the hair would be poking through the hood, and I don't want that. And since I already know off the top of my head the coating for this hood, I'm just going to go ahead and select that. It's the piece changes to 04. So the piece acts as separate pieces as well as different versions of the equipment. So you'll have to play with that. And you'll need the different versions. For like pants, most pants are only one piece. As you can see, they're not triggering that second piece there. So if you want to wear shoes that would go up past your ankle and you want the pants to tuck into them, you'll need to change the piece. So it would likely be 01 if you want it to tuck in around the shin, and 02 if you want it to tuck in around the thigh area. So you'll have to mess with that as well. The DLC, most of it won't actually tuck in because they didn't want to do any more work as possible when it came after the game was released, especially. They just kind of spit everything out. So most of it won't tuck in, like Natsu's. They won't, I'm sure. They might, but I'm pretty sure they won't. So, just be aware of that. And most of the DLC, even if it's not a bottoms, which most bottoms are one piece, if we were to go to arms, arm gear, they usually have two pieces. Viola's was really weird because it's got the claws on the right hand, and I thought that would be a separate piece because for like every other equipment, including the DLC, that one's not, but that is an exception. But they all have a piece for 0, or the ones that go on a hand, like these and those, they all have a piece for 0.5 because it overwrites the hand itself and replaces it with the glove render. But Viola's, it doesn't work like that. It only has this single lower arm piece, and it gets all of the equipment. So you can't really pick and choose with most DLC. So, yeah. You can mess around with it, though. Certain things will break apart differently, and they look really cool when they're overlapped. Like on one of my characters, I've got several different type of gloves. I've got, let's see, I've got the upper and lower arm of that. So these two pieces right here. And then for the hand, I've got this, and I've also got the gauntlet part of that. So it's 0.5 and 0, or 12. It's 12. And then I've also got the chains, and I've also got, where's the armband? That. I've got that as well. So I've got like 4 different type of gloves on at the same time, and it looks really cool because they all work pretty well together. And you could also equip multiple shoulder pieces, though I'm not sure how well those would behave. But, you know, you're free to experiment. But let's see. Let's give her... Oh, she's already wearing that skirt thing, and she's wearing that and that. Let's give her shoes, because I didn't go over this. Footwear. For most footwear, you're going to want to make your foot invisible. For footwear like the stilettos, where are the stilettos? I'm in female, so... Oh. Oh, they're right here. Because it actually is 1B. So I'm honestly not positive if, since it's 1B, I'm not sure if it would have the skin attached or if it would be an entirely different piece here. So probably 0F. No. Like 10. It would be 10 if it does have another piece. Because the stilettos, they have a heel, so your foot actually is different. Instead of making you taller like it should and just bending your foot, it cuts your foot or your ankle a little shorter and raises the heel of your foot up. So with that, you'd either need to make your foot invisible, and it would have the piece with it, it would have the skin with it, or you would need a different skin piece here. So like with these boots, they've only got the one piece. Like I said, most of the DLC is only one piece. So if I were to equip this, it wants to go in 1B, so I'll just go ahead and put it there. Now they're there. But since I still have the foot, the shin, and the knee visible, which this equipment covers completely, when I move, or even if I'm not moving, my skin might try to poke out of this. And there's 2 ways you can work around this. You can either unequip the equipment by selecting the equipment you want, changing this, or on any of these. They all have that null value right here. You can just equip that, and now you're not wearing that skin, the knee for the skin anymore. Or you can just change that piece to FF. So it'll still load the equipment, but it won't show it. So let's actually just make that FF as well. Or you can manually type in, so we'll go up here, and make that FF. So now that is a null value. It's not going to load that skin. But with this, you can also edit the after break coding. So if you were to go up here in Tools and do Copy All Pre-Break to Post-Break, as you can see, before it had the default equipment, but now it's the same throughout. So even if your opponent breaks you and your clothing should break off, it won't. So you'll always keep your clothing on when you do this option. But what's fun is you can also be wearing different clothing after you break. And I'll show you how to do that. You can't just go in here. Like if I wanted, we'll put wings on her because she died. So that's Netgear. So those want to go in 13, but since I have that gear right there that I don't want to get rid of, I'm going to put it up here because I'm not planning on equipping a shoulder piece. So I'll equip it there. But I can't just put it in there because we're in post-break right now. It's not going to be on the pre-break, but everything that's mentioned in the post-break has to be mentioned in the pre-break. So I still have to go right here. It doesn't have to be in the same spot, but it does have to be mentioned. And since I don't want it to show up in the pre-break, I'm just going to make that FF. And now since it's invisible, as you can see, it's crossed out, it's invisible in the pre-break, but then once I break, those wings are going to show up because it's not invisible here. So you could also go like this. You can make her have the devil wings while she's not broken, and then once she's broken, she's going to get those angel wings. So that could be pretty fun to mess around with. I had a character, and you have to color these accordingly because if you can't color each of these equipment separately, it's one block of color for everything that it would affect. So the first block for the net is going to affect the wings, the cape, the most of the cape. The inner flower design is the second block, so that won't be affected by the first. So the first block is going to be the wings, the cloth of the cape, as well as the hood. So it's going to affect all three. And since I want the wings to stay white, I'm probably going to leave that block deactivated, even though that will make this hood brown with that. I can color the inner flowers this color brown to make it look kind of like I tried to make it go there. And that way the wings won't go brown if I were to color that first block brown. And just like this, it would color the red wings. It would color the inside because for the devil wings, the first block colors the inner wings. The second block, I believe, is the outside, and then the third block is the like bone type stuff to it. It's not bone, but you know. So yeah, you can mess with that. You can have so many cool creations with this. And there's also some tools here. You can do unequip all pre-break equipment, so all of this would be the null values. You can do unequip all post-break, so all of it would be the null values on the post-break side. Or you can unequip all equipment, so everything would be the null value. Now, if everything is a null value on either one of them, well, like I said, if this is all null value, but this isn't, then you're going to be invisible for both. Because when everything's a null value, it's not loading any images, so you're going to be invisible, just your weapon floating there. However, if all of this is invisible, but you've still got this coding, it's not going to show up because it's not mentioned. Like here, it's not invisible here, but it's mentioned here. That equipment, it's loaded, but it's just invisible. So as soon as I break, that will show up. And that works with all equipment. It doesn't have to be the wings. So you can do like these large prayer beads, anal beads, whatever. Or, you know, this scarf, any equipment at all. However, it'll do it with most one-player, two-player models, but these work weird. I'll let you know right now. They don't work as you'd think they would work. The one-player, two-player models are a single image. So the entire thing is one image. So you can't get just Patroclus' one-player hair or his shoes or his gloves. You can only do that since he's got the DLC right here. You'd be able to get those pieces there. But yeah, since it doesn't have the One Piece, since they're all a single image, you're not going to be able to pick and choose what you want. You get what you get. And on top of that, they're very weird. Like Patroclus is one player. With all of them, you get the broken data. So it would be like what they would be wearing after they're broken, and then some. Like with Patroclus, when he breaks, he loses his little furry friend on his collar, and he loses the flap with the metal shingle armor shit on the back of him. So you would think that maybe you would just get that. But he also loses, he's wearing like that weird bra thing over top of the shingles. He loses that as well. And since they didn't actually render something there, it's just black. So you got to be careful with that. With Zwei, most of him is invisible. I think he has his shoes, his gloves, the bands on his pants, but not his pants himself, and his face. Like, all of them have their face and their hair, except Zwei 2 player. He only has his eyes and his teeth, so that's pretty freaky looking. However, Ezio is untouched because even when he breaks, he doesn't change because copyright infringement and whatnot. It could be that the company they signed with to do that, Trisoft, I don't know what it is, they didn't want it to break. But let's see, who else do I know? I know that Natsu, she's got her boots with the spandex underneath them, and then she's, like, all of her skin is invisible except for her face. Her hair's visible. Her right glove and the cuff is visible, and the straps around her upper chest and on her abdomen, those are visible, but all of the spandex everywhere else isn't. So you can get some pretty cool customs when you mesh these. Just experiment and see what happens when they're equipped on a custom, and yeah. But I think actually, as far as this character goes, I told you pretty much everything. Oh, auras. So you can get the auras from the hidden characters here. The Cervantes Legendary Souls, Nightmare Legendary Souls, and Nightmare in the intro movie, the opening to story mode, etc. You can get those auras, however, they only show up when you're using their style. So for Cervantes, you have to be using Cervantes' style for his aura to show up, and same with Nightmare. They do have to be the Nightmare style. And to get only the aura to show up, you would just make this piece FF, and that would make all of the armor invisible, but it is loading that aura. And unfortunately, you can't have that just after break, because to do that, you would be equipping this coding anywhere on here, with FF, but since it's still loading that aura, it's not going to only show up after, because it does have to be mentioned before. So the auras, you can have them in pre-break only and then lose it, but yeah. And with the extra gear, I'll just equip one from here. So that's extra 2. Unfortunately, I haven't mastered the extra coding yet, so if you haven't equipped it in-game, it's not going to work. However, if you equip it in-game and then you mod all sorts of stuff through here, it's not going to work either. The only way it'll work is if everything prior to it in the coding, so if this was legitly equipped in-game, I wouldn't be able to mod any of this or this. I would only be able to mod these 2 spots for that equipment to work. Otherwise, it glitches and goes inside of your body. It doesn't listen to the coding where you're telling it to go. However, if you do have one equipped, I did put the modifier in there, so you can make them super big. You can make them 1000% of their default size, and that's funny, I think, because you can have a giant Pac-Man floating over there, or a cat. That would be funny. But you can do that, and you can make them move farther away. However, I recommend not being too ridiculous, because if you put those damn drum circles around you and you make them big enough or like tall enough so we can't see anything, people are going to block you, and that's how you get banned. That's how my Project Hero got banned, except I used a character where I could hit them literally anywhere on the stage. So yeah, be careful with using ridiculous mods. But let's go through and color this stuff real quick. I had undergarments, so I'm going to make that pink. And I'm actually just going to disable that because it's not used in that equipment. Neck back. I'll only cover that second one, and I'll try to match that brown. It's probably like around that. So that way the flowers in the Jun shirt will be covered or colored to match the hood, and the wings will be untouched. But part of the wings, the devil wings, will be brown as well. So we'll see how that works. And then the default shoes. I don't know how these color off the top of my head, so 5710 is what I did before. Oh, but it's 9. Oh, it's 9. Okay. Whatever. So yeah, and I'll show you what I mean by the other. Why did that disable both of them? What? That was kind of weird. Oops. Okay, because now I'm curious. That would be something I need to know. Oh, so it just glitched weird. Okay, but since that value is null, Tira's main hair will be white, and Shiba's hair will be red. So we'll see how that works. And yeah, I've got the undergarments, the corset as well. So let's go, we'll save and see how that worked. And in this video I'll also show you, while it's saving, I'll talk to you about it. Because the first save, just like the first load, can take a while. I'll show you how to get the save back on your flash drive. We'll need Horizon again. You will need to do this every single time you change something in the editor. So you'll need to quick fix, which is just right here. You'll want to quick fix and find the save that we just modded, which is that one. And we're going to want to inject it by selecting that inject new file. And we do want it to overwrite, so we'll click yes. And now it's on the flash drive. And if I make any changes that I want to copy over from the game, like in-game, if you fight stuff and you want the win-loss to go in there without having to modify it yourself, you'll need to extract every single time. If you want that data from the recent playthrough to copy over, you'll want to extract. And then you always quick fix, always quick fix before injecting when you're done modding. So now I will swap my recorder over to the Xbox and we will see what the mods did. Okay, so we got that flash drive plugged back into the Xbox. So I'm just going to go here and select it. And I'll show you what happens when you try to go into training to look at your changes. You're not going to see shit. So it overwrote this spot here, Tira Loves Edgy, as you can see. That's what we named it. So we're going to click Edit. And as you can see, only the color is copied over, and she's fat now. But all of the changes to the equipment we did, they don't get read in the editor. They only get read... Oh, and see, you glitch out too, so it's stupid. You don't want to go into the creation with a character that you messed with in the editor. So none of my friends are playing. Let's see if someone else is. He's on. Can I join? Yay! This is the only way out. Unless you go to the dashboard or eject or something, the only way out of there is to join a session in progress and just cancel. So we're gonna go to training because it takes too long to see, for me at least, to get into a fight. And this game save like really old. I don't have any of these customs anymore. And I want my song.
Training, start!
See, now she's wearing all that fun equipment. She's got the perio on. The raccoon tail, like I said, when you aren't able to modify it, it's just default at your body. And it's not like centered around her, but it's kind of like coming out of her hip. And as you can see, that hood, since it does have this scarf, it's got that black marking that's supposed to simulate a shadow on the actual equipment, so it looks like it's creating a shadow on itself. I know that the red hood, that looks like Red Riding Hood, that one, since it doesn't have the cape at all, it works pretty well with this jacket, or with the cape that I'm wearing. But yeah, as you can see, I think she's just taller because she is using elbow style, so she's floating. You can see that the aura around her feet is not showing up. That's because she's not in elbow spot. And let's see if it'll let you... No, you can't really see Shiva's hair at all, so we'll have to go into versus mode and just see what happens when we break her.
Welcome back to the stage of history, Metropolis. Here. Battle 1. Fight!
Fear my skills! Slow down!
Bitch.
This is justice! You're finished! Direct strike!
So, as you can see,
The battle rages.
oh, we didn't make it, so the hood fell off after the break.
Fight!
But as you can see, she's wearing those wings now. But she's still wearing everything else. Like those shoes, that,
Fear my
hood, all of that would have broken off if we didn't go in there, or if you had done this in-game. So you can make it so you don't lose your clothing that you've spent hours and hours working on. So, yeah, that's pretty much all I've got to show you. So, yeah, thanks for watching the tutorials and have fun editing.